Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Trekyards. I'm still Captain Foley.
I'm still. Well, I'm sure I am. I'm sure you are too. We're Team Trekyards, Stuart. Commander Kong's right here with you today.
Yes, yes. Welcome back, guys. As usual, we love talking about ships, and we have a ship to talk about today. This one is an STO ship, and yeah, what exactly are we looking at today, Samuel?
Well, as you guys may know, the STO boys quite good at their jobs, and we've covered a few of their ships over the last couple of years, and yet they keep cranking out new designs for most eras, reinventions of old classics, new total designs. Really talented team, and arguably some of the best ship design in the last 10 years is all from the STO house. So today we're looking at a Archon, if that's how you say it, and it's a very classical looking and feeling Federation ship, but in the STO world. So I'm excited to look at this, and thanks to the team for providing some renders, and then thanks to me for doing scale renders and forming it all up. But Stuart, what do you think of this ship? And have you seen it before? And what do you think?
I haven't seen it specifically, no. It does seem like a sister ship or a variant of the Sovereign class. I could be wrong, but I mean, it's a cool looking little design. Overall, I mean, most STO ships I'm very impressed with. I do like the two-tone paint jobs that they have. I like the style that they're done in, and just the variations that you can do on them, I think is really great.
Yeah, this to me is a great classical, yet advanced. You know, we were always wondering how Picard would handle doing newer ships, and they did what they did. But this is a good way of actually having something that feels more advanced and yet still fits into the mold beautifully, without so much of those gimmicks that other STO ships have. If for good and for bad, I mean, a gimmick is a just a word for a radical detail. Obviously, the engines look the most radical, but you still understand them, and even pulling things like the back nacelle bonus warp coil element, like that's all the ships from Stover, so it's not exactly anything too radical. But Stuart, let's go straight to the second view, which will change the perspective. Now that's definitely a lot more E.
Yeah, that definitely feels a lot more like the Sovereign class there. Modified secondary hull. The shape of the saucer is quite interesting as well. It's blending that Enterprise E Sovereign class shape with the Delta or the arrowheads that Rick likes to use. So it's kind of a marriage of both, which I think is a good idea. It kind of pulls everything together.
The less aggressive tactical assault ship that the Prometheus is meant to be, etc.
Yes, yes. It does seem smaller than a Sovereign class, just at first glance. I could be wrong, because, well, yeah, the secondary hull does look like it might be the same as a Sovereign, but...
And the windows already feel a bit weird to me on the bottom of the saucer. They're vertical and horizontal, and they just look a bit weird, detail-wise. I know it's weird phrasing is just weird, but they look inorganic to this sort of design.
That's a very good point, actually. We were talking about the windows on the bottom before, how that would be kind of odd in some situations. This very much so, because it is very much like a flat surface. Unless you change the gravitational thing of those rooms so it's upside down, which would be kind of neat.
Well, obviously if they have Discovery-style turbolifts, then also the turbolift can go to change the gravity location. Now, what do you think about having one very long phaser strip that is the entire saucer?
I think it's a good look, honestly. I don't think it makes sense practically, though. Like, if you get damage to it, I'm sure it's just sectioned off, though, like little sections. But still, I mean, it's almost better to have multiple phaser strips just in case one should go down. Because, yeah, that'd be a major pain in the butt if it just wasn't working. That was the whole strip. But I think the look of it looks fine. But then again, that being said, I think multiple ones also look really great. So
I think my issue with it is it blends in too much to just a black plate detail. Whereas if you have it separate, it all kind of has more of a, oh yeah, I get what it is. But let's talk scale, obviously, Stuart. And we have got it here with lots of the famous ships of the fleet, both before and very before. I know we always like to compare to a Connie because a Connie's a good sort of yardstick.
Bigger than I anticipated. It obviously looked like a smaller science type ship when we first started looking at it, but yeah, it's right on point with the Sovereign there. Like, it is definitely a variant of the Sovereign. Even that silhouette looks very similar.
Although it's clear that they, the design theory was take every element of Sovereign but make it different. So you still have the fundamentals of curved pylons, longer nacelles, etc. But everything is different. The closest you can get is the neck, but even with that, it has a different curvature slightly.
No, I like the look of the new one. Like, I like of the one we're looking at today. Just the shape of that saucer is very, Very nice, actually.
I don't think I'm as sold on how back the nacelles are on the pylons. I think that's letting it down slightly. And I mean, like, maybe just 25-30% forward. Because that does often give a nice little bulk feel. This kind of feels more like the Jeju Prize from Beyond, which has this, why are they at the back? It's like, well, okay. Doesn't quite work as well.
No, yeah, I see that. I see that. Either one looks really fine. It looks fine to me.
It's just more stringy to me, you know?
Yeah, now that you pointed out, it's quite, yeah. The Sovereign does look a little bit better for sure. So
now the next view is obviously a side view, which we always note that does change the perspective of a ship. Depth is really important, and this certainly is not how it felt from the top. Okay then.
oh, it's very bulky. Like those nacelles are chunky nacelles. They're not sleek at all. I know they're thinner from the front because but wow. And the profile of that secondary hull is so much different too.
Feels similar until you're like, oh wait, no, it's not. It feels more like a shark to me, with how kind of, like, I don't know, how big the cutouts are. It kind of feels like those big gracious curves of a shark. I think the black and white helps. But
it's funny because at first glance you see like, hey, that's a Sovereign variant. Boom. There's a few things different, but then I love the side by side comparisons because it's like, oh, damn, yeah. And a lot of people do that. They look at it, and go, yeah, it's just a Sovereign, a few changes. Okay, I see what they did.
It's clearly the cousin of a Sovereign. Same design team, tasked with a different style. You know, the Sovereign is the big, bulky battleship. This feels far. The fact that the engine's bigger, but they're pretty thin. The amount of hull they're losing in the secondary hull. And we say, oh, it feels bigger, but that's just the nacelles. The primary and secondary hulls are obviously smaller. You're losing space, so it's not a battleship. I'm sure it's some sort of mid-range Explorer variant.
Yeah, it's funny how just changing the perspective to the side is for size scaling makes all the difference. We've talked about that many times, and I didn't expect it to be that different from the side. The top, I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, but
does it feel as lanky in the side view with how nacelles are, or does it kind of blend in better because now you're seeing the stretched out proportions of everything else? I'm on the fence.
I am too. I wouldn't use the word lanky from the side. There's nothing about it that's really lanky. Maybe the back of the secondary hull has a lanky appearance, but
yeah, I think it feels more in proportion here, but it's just because the secondary hull is so odd with its curvature. So let's do a Trekyards with the Sovereign, just a bit more full screen, a bit more detail. It is the same, but it's different. And this is one of those things where you can imagine the design team was very much said that objective, and it's like, that's a lot of stress. And yet you kind of know when it works, when it comes together.
And those engines are a strange creature. I mean, from the side, they do look so big, but you know that they're not. You can see how slender they are. They're just angled differently. They're kind of, yeah, and from the top, they look fine. Just from the side, they look so bulky. I'm not sure I'm sold on the shape of the struts either. I very much appreciate the Sovereign ones way better. I don't know what it is about these, but they just feel a little bit wrong.
They feel less intentional. Like they're kind of an add-on thought rather than just part of the design process. Whereas the E, it all flows. Those don't flow in the same way.
And I'm not sure how I feel about that big cutout at the back of the saucer either.
Well, it's the same one as the E. It's just they've made the neck different.
Yeah. It just doesn't look as good.
Well, it would look better if you associate this ship, and if we go back to the side view for a second, does that make sense? I mean, yeah, possibly. If you associate that it's a source separation design, specifically designed, and then that separation plane is important, then I could kind of buy it as, yeah, okay. Well, let's do some more beauties, though. And these are provided again, well, this one's provided by the team. There's the back view, so the impulse engines. Ooh, and the tri-shuttle bay, the E, has a slightly different arrangement.
That is nice. I was wondering where the impulse engines were, because they weren't as visible as they are in the Sovereign, obviously. I do like the integrated look there, though. The shuttle bay design is interesting. There's no shuttle bay at the rear of the secondary hull on this one either, which I noticed in the top view because the pinstripe goes all the way to the back instead of there being another shuttle bay there. So
I think it's a good view. It does kind of hide a lot of the vibes, but I mean, you know, often those things do. But it gives it a very sort of sleek vibe, and it definitely feels like. Well, I mean, obviously they have reproportioned, but now the secondary hull, you're right, where the shuttle bay isn't, is now much lower, and so the pylons are much lower, so it feels like it's kind of going up, which is an odd look, but it is certainly sleekish. From this perspective, though, as we know, things have already changed quite a lot in our other views.
Yeah. And the rear of those nacelles are quite interesting as well, with the way that the blue wraps around. I'm not sure that I like that, to be honest.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times, at least a variant of it, and this is another. It definitely implies it's fast, because having that bigger warp coil for this smaller ship, at least relatively, a lot of raw power there. I know it's a small thing, but it bugs me, the window detail, lack thereof window detail above the shuttle bay. It's just 4 stripes of white light. It's like, if you're doing these big windows to kind of make a statement of, hey, look, these are big conference rooms, whatever, at least texture it a little bit. You know, it feels unfinished. But the next view, though, is just condensed orthos of the side and top. Any sort of more assertions you have now, you can see them side by side.
I'm just wondering what those blue patches are. There's
They
2 blue patches.
now, yeah.
They seem reminiscent of what we see on the Defiant. Those little sections at the front where the weapons are. This one here. It almost seems like it could be related to that, but not a big deal. It's a texturing thing just to make it look a little bit better in the game. But maybe a Cetacean Ops under each one of those. That's why it's blue.
Yeah,
it's water.
And just look up and... Yeah, brilliant. But the next view, though, is the top and the back, which, again,
see?
changes the perspective.
Yeah, the secondary hull here very much feels like an Excelsior class. It's got that bulk to it, and yeah, here you can see the nacelles angled, which is what I was talking about earlier. So from the top, they look nice and sleek. From the side, they just look so bulky because they're so big. Damn.
And this is kind of strange. That front view looks extremely plain. All of the depth is gone. Now you have a very plain source and a very plain URI Excelsior secondary hull. You go to the back, load of depth, once you obviously understand the dimensionality of it. So that's a very strange, again, change of perspective entirely. Although I don't like how much bigger the deflector cutout is. The fact that they then have separate plates either side tells you that they just kind of made to excess. You know, like you only need that deflector size, and yes, they made it even bigger. So this ship is not afraid of losing secondary hull space, because boy, they've lost a lot of it.
Yeah, and what is that detail on the front of the saucer? Is that a shuttle bay? Is that supposed to be a
No,
secondary
that's just
deflector?
a grey panel. If you look at our view, it's just a grey panel detail.
There's potential there. There's lost potential there. You could put something nice in there.
But the next view is our last view. It is a beauty, because it's nice to see these things in game. And again, a definitely different feel. A few more glows around the deflector, which is odd, although I quite like. And the engines certainly look good from this perspective too. Those extra little bit of glows and bobs.
Yeah. The blue striping from the deflector back to the pennant is interesting. Yeah, it's kind of unnecessary, but looks great. Sure. Not sure how I feel about the yellow deflectors though of the Sovereign class ships.
Well,
You know.
but once you turn it blue, you can't. Doesn't feel right because that's set to be yellow. So other ships though. So yes, Stuart, there you go. A classic looking Archon line ship. For the most part, they do kind of radical designs or interesting, different designs. I kind of want to go for a classic one. But I think this one had more than we were expecting. And, if you love just the Sovereigns, to be a good cousin to go fly around in.
All right, guys, let us know what you thought about this ship. Do you play it in-game? Is there anything special about it that we don't know? Let us know what's going on with it in the comments section down below. And, of course, make sure you're subscribed and hit like on this video. We really appreciate all that. And hitting that bell notification icon so you get notified when we upload, because YouTube is very bad for sending out notifications. So, if you can, up your chances a little bit by selecting all.
And of course, if you can't, don't worry. But if you can support us directly, it is essential for our continuing. We've gone 6 years, we're going to go more. And if you watch us in the future, we have gone more. Good for us. So you can support us one-time PayPal or Super Chat, which is during our lives. You put in any amount you want. It goes directly to us. It goes directly to the conversation. And often that little bit of, hey guys, this. That creates a whole new conversation, which we love because we want that interaction. Or the regular, the monthlies, the Patreon, or the join the channel on YouTube. It's next to the Super Chat button, and it's on the top of the channel as well. Really, really helpful. If you can manage 5 a month, it does mount up if enough of you do. Thank you in advance.
That's right. So until next time, guys, when we have another ship, whether it be STO or not, I am Captain Foley.
I am Commander Guns. See you next time.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.